Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am excited for today's video because I'm hoping it's really going to be helpful for all of us rolling into the fall season, because I don't know about you, I feel like the reality has hit me and I have had some crazy busy schedule this last month, and fall and the holidays is not looking like it's going to be any more chill. And today's video is all about my tried or true products that I use when I know I'm going to have a long day. Those long wear products, the long lasting face items, the ones that you know that are going to get you through. And I'm even more excited because today's collaboration is with Jennifer from Allfeisty. My friend Jennifer is the perfect person to collaborate with on this because this woman is a rock star. She is doing it all and she has some really long days. I feel like all of her days are long days, so I am really excited to see what she recommends for this, and I truly love her content, especially if you are into some high-end and luxury beauty. You should go check her out. If you love cute puppies, you should also check her out because sometimes her cute little fur babies make wonderful cameos. I've known Jennifer for over a year now, and I know we talked about doing a collab. I think we've done some collective collabs with a few other people, but we've talked about doing a collab, she and I, for a while, and just like what happens when you have busy long days, life gets away from you. And so finally I was like, all right, let's do this thing, and I'm excited for today. So please make sure after this video that you head over to Jennifer's channel to see her recommendations. I know that she's gonna have some good ones, and if you aren't already following her, I know you're going to love her. I love that Jennifer is very funny, very honest, but also poised. You know, the woman has her ish together, and I can really appreciate that. So please, again, make sure you go head over to see that after this. Now, if you're coming over from Jennifer's channel, thank you so much. I really hope you enjoy hearing my recommendations. And if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly, and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. If you want to know what I like to use when I'm going to be having those long days, let's get into it. So we are going to get started off with complexion, and if you're not new to my channel, this won't be a new product to you. This is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, and I am choosing this one because in my everyday life, I really don't go for medium to high coverage. Even on days where I want my makeup to last a really long time, I want that to be all in the prep and the set, because I don't prefer a full coverage. I feel like most long wear items tend to be a little bit higher coverage or just have a less natural effect. So I really want to get my long wear effects from the steps in my makeup application. And this product is nice because if it is going to wear off a bit, it's going to wear off in a very natural way. It's not going to start separating. You don't start getting creasy. It is beautiful. So we're going to apply this one. I love the way that it wears as the day goes on. I never feel like I have that separation or caking anywhere. It just looks like skin, and if my skin underneath starts to peek through, it doesn't look odd. And I'm just going through with the BK101 brush. This is a must-have for me. I just really like the finish of this tinted moisturizer. It has a nice, I would say, satin finish to it, because I don't want something, I do love a good glow. I love a good glowy product, but I don't want something that's too glowy, because I want something that's going to wear through the day. And I would say that my skin is normal in the summertime, but in the fall and winter especially, it definitely gets quite a bit more dry. And I just think that this gives me a nice natural radiance without being too glowy. And in this makeup process, I'm going to choose to use a little bit lighter coverage all over, and then more concealer under my eyes, and if I have areas that I want to spot conceal, which is funny because I know that Jennifer doesn't really do concealer all that often, so I feel like we're gonna almost be opposite here. But so I'm gonna zoom you in a bit so that you can see the natural glow and radiance that this product provides. All right, so now that we're a little bit closer, hopefully you can see that nice skin-like finish that it has. It just looks like healthy skin, and I really love that. Also, I am a professional hairdresser, I swear, but I just did not have the time to do the hair today because I'm actually going to color it tomorrow. and I just didn't want to have to style it to then like wash that all down the drain tomorrow. So to hide the craziness of the hair that I've got going on today, I just threw on a silk headscarf and, you know, the good old messy bun. Headbands added to a messy bun just always looks a little bit more like purposeful, and I love that. So anyway, away from the hair, now that I have the foundation on, I'm gonna go through and do my concealer. So as I was going through my concealers, I knew I was gonna be looking for something that had like a medium to full coverage and also some really long wear. So I chose the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. Here I have the shades Golden Beige and Almond. Oh, and by the way, I use the shade Ginger in Bare Minerals in the summer and Bamboo in the fall and winter. I did not tell you the shade of that in case you feel like you might be closer to me. So Golden Beige and Almond. Almond is definitely like my fall winter shade. Golden Beige is a little bit too dark, so I'm probably gonna end up cocktailing these two together. But what I'm going to do, the reason that I chose something that is medium to full coverage is so that I can use much less of it to keep a very thin layer. And that way it's not going to crease, it's not going to look weird as the day wears on. So that's why I like to use something that's a little bit higher coverage for those long days. Not so that I can like pile on more and just look like super flawless, but then like really cakey in 5 hours. It's so that I can use a very tiny amount and just have that nice look all day long. Okay, so you all missed it, but I just ran to the bathroom to wet my Beauty Blender. I like the Beauty Blender blushers. They're like a little bit smaller, but not as small as those stupid micros. And I dropped it on the way into the room. Like I was in the room, I dropped it, and I have been spending the last like 5 minutes trying to find that stupid Beauty Blender. I don't know where it is. It disappeared. I don't know if it went underneath something that I can't even think about like trying to look under. I don't know where it is, but at any rate, this concealer has been like sitting on my face in these dots for, you know, a good 5-7 minutes. So that's not something I would recommend, is letting it sit for that long unblended. But we're good to go here. And I did go ahead and pull out a damp beauty sponge here just to add a little bit of hydration to this situation. But I mean, you can see I did not use a lot, just enough to sort of like brighten up the under eye. And then this Golden Beige shade is actually like really, really close to my skin tone right now. Just after being outside yesterday at the Renaissance Fair, I feel like I got a little bit of color. So it's actually not too bad. So I just, like over this one spot of pigmentation, I just used the Golden Beige on its own. I am not going to put any concealer on my upper eyelid right now because of something that we're going to be using in a little bit. So I'm just doing the under eye. I also like to dab over my nose. I get a very red nose, so I just like to add a little bit of extra coverage here. So hopefully you can see everything is really nicely covered, but it's not like super cakey, and that's just because I used the tiniest amount of that concealer, and it honestly probably would have blended in even better if it hadn't sat on my face while I was literally on my stomach on the floor trying to find the other sponge that I had wet. All right, now here is where we start to get into some of those like long wear steps that I like. I'm gonna go through with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Powder, and this powder I'm just going to use under my under eye. I really just want to set that concealer down, so I'll just go on my under eye, maybe like right around the nose here, because I do tend to get a bit shiny right there, and then just over the nose. So just in those areas that I don't mind a bit more brightness, this is just right away going to help set that concealer down, and that's all that I'm worried about creasing is like this. So I'm just doing that right away. Now, the first time that I got this powder, I tried it out and I really wasn't a huge fan. And I think it was because it was in a shade that was too dark for me. Because if you are using something that's emollient or damp on your skin, the minute a powder hits that, the powder is almost going to seem that much darker. So I had the next shade down, which is probably like light. And I just felt like it was too dark for me at that time of year. It probably would be fine right now. I could probably have 2 shades of this and be fine. But you want something that's not going to be too dark when it hits your skin, in case it does like darken up a little bit from the dampness of whatever is on your skin, if that makes sense. But I find this powder to be so finely milled and it doesn't add any texture. I do have a couple loose powders that I really like, but the thing about this is I could very easily have one of these, throw it in my purse, and if I really needed a touch-up of some sort throughout the day, I could easily use this one. So this is definitely a must-have for me. I can't believe I didn't like it at first, but you just have to find the perfect shade. All right, now that we have the under eye set, I don't have to worry about that creasing, and I can just kind of like just take some time with the complexion color. So Like I mentioned, I'm a hairdresser. I have really long days in the salon. I mean, I have days that are 10, 12 more hours. And not only is that long days, but it's days of like having my face down in steamy water, definitely like working hard. Also, as a trainer, educator, and artist for a professional hair care brand, I have days where we're doing hair shows where we might start working on models literally at 5 a.m. And then let's say we aren't going on stage at a hair show until like noon, 1 o'clock, and then you have 2 hours of being on stage under like hot lights. It's a long day. It's a long, long day. And one of the things that I found that really helps me is stacking creams and powders. I love the way that creams look. I think that they just look so beautifully blended and natural on the skin. But on long days, I like to set them with a powder product as well. So that's going to be what we do today. So what I would recommend is starting with a beautiful like contouring product, something that's like a neutral to cool tone and that you find works for you. So I have here the Hollywood Contour Wand from Charlotte Tilbury, and I also have the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Glow. Both of these are gorgeous. This one is almost like a bronzer. This one is definitely more of a contour shade. I really can't decide, but I have not used this one in a while, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Hollywood Contour Wand. Now, the thing that I love about the Contour Wand is it is so pigmented, but so blendable. So you don't really need a lot on the skin, and you're able to like blend it out really quickly. So now I'm just taking a brush and giving that a nice little blend. This is just a Luxie Pro Precision face brush. And obviously, if I didn't have a headscarf on, I would be doing a lot more bronzing to my forehead, but I don't really feel the need right now. I will say I have been, this summer, I have been all about the bronze. I'm just gonna take one little dab here. I've just been loving that like nice, really glowy look, but right now I'm just trying to add some like structure to my face. And again, like I said, I am going to set this down with another powder, but rather than just using like a translucent setting powder, I'm going to actually use a bronzing powder. So again, make sure that you always like twist that cap and lock it back on. I've had times that I've like been so afraid that my product's going to be dried out because I forgot to do that. But you can see it just adds a little bit of a nice sculpt to the face, and it will have even more staying power once I lay the bronzing powder over the top. But before I go through with that bronzing powder, I'm going to do the blush. And again, I'm going to stack a cream and a powder, and I don't know about you, but on really long days, I want makeup that's not going to take a million years. And I thought the easiest way to bring in the whole like cream and powder situation was to pull out the Patrick Ta Double Take cream and powder blushes. So these are not new by any means. These are of course the duo of the powder and the cream blush. This is the shade Do We Know Her. I love a good like natural peachy flush, and I am actually going to do the cream and then the powder. I know Patrick Ta talks about doing it the other way, but today we are going to do cream and then powder. So I'm going to go ahead and take the BK Beauty 108 and just blend this into the tops of my cheeks here. This color is so pretty. It is really just that like kind of goes with everything. Nice natural flush. I'm just laying down that cream to really help build up some color and give my cheeks a really nice like natural flush of color. And then we're gonna set all of this down with the powder. So I'm using the Wayne Goss 14. Oh, by the way, that brush that I was using with the Charlotte Tilbury powder is the Wayne Goss airbrush, and I saw Beautylish said that it's coming back. I have 2 or 3 of the airbrush, and I'm like, do I need one more? Like, it is such a nice brush. I honestly predominantly use it for setting under the eye, but I've also used it for blush, for contour. It's such a lovely brush, and Wayne's brushes are so soft, but this 14 brush is one of my favorite blush brushes. And so again, I'm just like working that up and in. So I'm getting a bit more color, but for me, it's really about just like setting all of that product in place, and we're really gonna get some nice longevity. And I think that having that cream base down first is really a nice way to like guard against any textural look. Like a little bit of cream, it can just tend to like hydrate areas that you may have some dry skin. So if you do want to lay a powder over the top, I feel like having that cream down first just tends to like give you a more like smooth canvas to be working with. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through with that bronzing powder. And this bronzer I pulled out earlier in the summer and I just can't seem to put it away. This is the LYS No Limits Matte Bronzer, and I have it in 2 shades. I actually have the light shade and the medium shade. This is the light shade. This is Motor Motivate. And I'm choosing the lighter shade because we already have a nice bit of color from that contour wand. I am really just going to use this to honestly like dust over areas of my face that I want to add a bit more color. So it's sort of like a deeper setting powder and a bronzer in one. What I'm going to do is take a nice big fluffy brush. This is the Fenty setting brush, and I'm just going to lightly tap into this. Again, we're almost thinking of this as like a setting powder while adding a bit of color. So I'm just going to move my scarf out of the way and then just like dab this in. I have been liking this powder because it just looks so natural on the skin, and it is more of a matte bronzer, which I typically like a bit of a glow to my bronzer. But I know that once I set this down, it really just has a very nice skin finish to it. And I don't want to be too glowy because I got a long day ahead of me and I don't want to look super crazy shiny by the end of it. So if you guys can see, like, I feel like it does have a slight matte finish to it, but I know once I give this a set with some setting spray, it's going to have that very nice skin finish and last a really long time. I tell you what, for the price point that LYS products come in at, I've been very impressed. The cream blush, by the way, the cream blush from them, if you have like oily skin, but you want to have a cream option, it is great as well. I actually almost pulled it out for this video, but I just like the fact that the Patrick Ta has both the cream and the powder included and just saves you a step, but that's another one to check out. And by the way, I will have all of these products that I'm talking about linked in the description box below if you want to snag any for yourself. Before we move on, I am going to give my skin a bit more glow on my cheeks. I'm using the Laura Mercier Baked Radiance Matte Powder. This is the shade 01. I just have this like little mini here. This is so nice for those long days because you get just enough glow. It certainly gives a nice glow, but it's not like that, you know, foiled metallic look. I really do love a good liquid highlighter or cream highlight, but for those really long days, in all honesty, I will not go too glowy anyway because I feel like by the end of the day, I'm gonna have a decent amount of glow, but I just don't want anything that's gonna break up the product that I've put on underneath. So something like this is really nice because I feel like it just makes me look like luminescent and a little bit like radiant, but not like too beaming. And so I'm just gonna place this on all of the areas that I want to have that lovely like radiance. So this Laura Mercier powder used to be talked about in the beauty sphere here on YouTube like a decade or more ago. I remember everybody was raving about it and it was just kind of like to me until I got this sample in some kit or something or other, and I really like it. I think it can definitely be an unsung hero if you have a skin type where you don't really like too much glow but you want that little bit, or if you feel like you have a texture that tends to start looking pronounced if you put on anything too glowy. This would be a beautiful one for you. If you love a really like radiant look, you can use a big fluffy brush with this and use it all over the face for sort of like that like luminescent finishing powder, and it works really nice for that too. So now we're going to move on to brows. Now I kind of use a little bit of everything when it comes to brows, just depending on what I'm feeling. If I want something like really natural, I'll just whip a little gimme brow through. I recently have been really liking a very feathery brow using a brow pen, but the one product that I know I can always count on long days is going to be the 24-hour brow setter. This is a clear brow gel. I really like to have a nice lifted brow. Even if I'm not going for like feathery brows, I still like something that is sort of like a little bit of a push-up brow for my brows, and this one lasts all day long. This does have a stiffer feel to it, but it doesn't get super flaky, and that was why I chose this one. I have a couple other products that I really enjoy as well, but this one I know just stays looking really nice and clean in the brows. I don't really have problems with my brow color fading throughout the day. I think that's partially because I'm not like a toucher of my face. I think that some people touch their face way more than they think they do, and I definitely don't do that often, but what I do find is some brow fixatives can get a little flaky throughout the day, and this one does not do that. Ooh, I am almost out of this. I'm gonna have to crack into a backup. So I'm just going to push my brow hairs up. Now, I do have a bit of microblading in my brows that is, at this point, a couple years old. So I just like to go through with enough color to get a bit more definition and actually warm my brows up a little bit. Now, if I'm using a pencil or a powder, I will usually use that before I use this gel. I'm gonna go through and do a few little strokes with a brow pen. I'll probably end up using the Anastasia one because that's what I see right here in front of me. When I do that, I like to wait until the brow gel is dry just so that it doesn't like coat the tip of my brow pen. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I will be back in just a moment with some brows. Now, again, if you're not new to my channel, you are probably not going to be surprised if there's a long wear video, you know that Danessa Myricks Color Fix are going to come into play. I really, really love these. These are a very long wear, waterproof color pigment product, and they can be used really anywhere on the face. She does have several formulas. She has the mattes, which I really adore. These are what I'm recommending to you today. She has some foils. She has some like little shimmer shades. There's a lot of beautiful different formulas, but the mattes are where it's at for me today because I like to use these as an eye base for any other colors that I'm putting over the top. And I really wear everything from nudes and neutrals to neons to big sparkly multi-chromes. I love it all. But I will say, if I'm going to have a very long day, I tend to not wear anything that has glitter in it, just because by the end of the day, even with a glitter glue, I feel like you can have like particles that fall down. Doesn't mean I won't wear shimmer. Give me all of the shimmer, but I want something that isn't going to have actual glitter particles in it. So I'm going to be using some beautiful shimmer shades with you today, but first we're going to go through and lay the Color Fix down as our like base, our like matte shadow to blow out into the crease. So if you're new to using these, I definitely recommend checking out a couple of my other videos. I have several Danessa Myricks videos here on my channel. I will make sure to have one linked up here and anything else down in the description box that I think will be helpful. All I will say is a very little bit goes a really long way. So I'm actually going to take the shade Rustic and add in one of her nude shades. I really want to get a couple more of the deeper nudes to use as like nude crease shades, but this is really just going to help kind of like lighten this and desaturate it a bit. I thought about using Primary Yellow, but I have used this one on my channel before, but I love this one as well. I'm just going to lay a tiny bit of this down into the crease with a fluffy brush. Here I have the BK206 brush. I prefer to use synthetics with these just because they're a little easier to clean out. And then we'll have a beautiful like blown out eye color to then lay over our shimmer shades. So before we get started, I want to show you how much I'm working with right now. And I'm literally just going to lay a little bit of this down on each eyelid before I get started. It's not going to take much. So before I said we were not going to put any concealer up into our eyelid or into our crease, and that's to not prohibit the longevity of these. I find that they last the longest when you use them on clean skin because, you know, if your concealer isn't super long wearing, that's going to, you know, affect the wear of the Color Fix that you lay over the top. So you can see, like I said, a little goes a really long way. Once I have that color laid down pretty much where I want it, I'll either take a naked brush, just a super clean brush, or I'll take that brush that I used and wipe it off on a towel, and then I'm just coming along these edges just to blur them out a bit. And also, I find that powder shadows lay really nicely over these, so if you wanted to then go through and, you know, even like deepen up your crease, which I think we might end up doing, you can do that and then just almost use this color as like your base and like transition shade, if that makes sense. But I'm telling you, these will last all day long. If you want to see the proof, you can head over to my Instagram, which is KEEPBEAUTYREAL, because I just recently did an Instagram reel showing the longevity of these. I sort of like documented throughout the day. I used a really shimmery shifty shade and there was no creasing and everything looked fantastic all day long. So if you want the proof, it's right over there on Instagram. Okay, so I could have used a small pencil brush and run some of that same color underneath to, you know, add something underneath the lash line, but I think I'm just going to use some powder shadow for that. I don't necessarily have a powder shadow that I feel like is like extra long wearing. I definitely have a couple favorites, but I did want to pull out some shimmers that I really love and think that last all day long. For the record, you certainly could use a Danessa Myricks Color Fix in like a cream or a foil. These are a little bit more glossy. This is a pretty popular one. This is Ballerina. I just find that the creams and the foils especially, they take a little bit more work to work with because they dry really quickly. So if you are new to this product, I recommend picking up a matte or two to sort of like get the swing of blending in the creams. And then once you build up that skill, you can certainly start adding these into your collection. But today we're going to go through with some powder shadows. And today I pulled out my Sydney Grace, partially because I know Jennifer loves Sydney Grace as much as I do, but also I got all of these beauties in the Sydney Grace mystery bag sale when they were doing the Christmas and July deals, and I haven't used a lot of them yet, so I thought we could go through and use a few shades. I love the Sydney Grace shimmer formula. Well, I love the shimmers and the mattes. I love them both. They're gorgeous. But the shimmers are just so foiled and beautiful, but they really do have some nice longevity. So here I have a couple shades. I have Versailles and I also have Juniper. So you can see this is Versailles and Juniper here. These were from my taupe mystery bag. I'll give them a little swatch so that you can see. I mean, oh, so pretty and foiled looking, and they really do last a really long time. And Sydney Grace has amazing prices. So we are going to use a couple of these. I think I might use both of those shades. I'm not sure. We will see. And then I'm probably going to come in with a matte as well. We're just going to play a little bit. So I've just taken Versailles on a flat shader brush here, almost like a concealer brush, just to really be able to press this into the skin and onto my eyelid to get that really nice foiled look. And again, that color fix that's laying underneath the shadow is going to help this last all day long and just look really, really beautiful. Okay, I did the inner 2/3 of my eyelid with that Sydney Grace Versailles shade. And now I'm gonna go in with a matte. This is the shade Footprints from Sydney Grace. I'm just gonna use this to kind of like dust through the crease and blend out the shadow here. And again, like this will just help build up color if I do want a bit of a deeper crease. And that color fix is just gonna serve as a beautiful base. And just for a little contrast in the outer corner, I'm going to use the shade Enchantment. This is a really nice like olivey green shade from Sydney Grace. I'm just gonna use the BK207 brush. I really do. If you like to use vegan brushes, BK Beauty, hands down, this is what I would recommend. These are so, so beautiful. Okay, so here I have a Wayne Goss number 5. I'm just going into that shimmery olive shade, that Juniper from Sydney Grace, and I'm just going to lay this down underneath the lash line up until where I put that dark shade down on the outer third. All right, wonderful. So here you can see this is obviously, it has a bit more like contrast and added interest using the extra powder shadows for extra dimension, but I just wanted to show you the difference. This is still very beautiful. It's essentially like 2 shadows, right? You put the one color fix down. Well, technically I used 2 because I mixed 2 together, but you put a color fix mixture down and then just the one shimmer shade over the top. I'm telling you, laying down a color fix is going to make any shadow that you put over it last longer. It's really nice because you can like layer iridescent shades over the top and have a fun little pop. They're so beautiful, and if you love playing with makeup, I know that you'll enjoy these. Like I said, a little goes a long way. Okay, so now I'm gonna get these eyes to match. I'll be right back. All right, thank you so much for letting me play with my Sydney Grace shadows. I really wanted to use some of the things from that mystery bag haul. I'm not sure if they still have any mystery bags left, but if they do, I'll link the link down below. Otherwise, check out the site. You won't be sorry. So I'm just gonna take a bit of that matte radiance powder and pop this into my inner corner. I do really like a good glow, so I'm just using, again, that same Wayne Goss pencil brush, and we're just gonna like hit the inner corner just to give us a little light. All right, I love this look. I think that this is also like a perfect like transitioning into fall eye look. You guys will have to let me know down below. So now we're gonna go through and set the face. Again, we have powder products laid down, but in a way that looks very natural, not adding texture. Now we're just gonna give that like layer over the top that's gonna seal the deal. Today I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I do really think that this one lasts really nicely. I don't love the scent of it. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's so strong. I don't feel like the scent is that strong. I just don't love the scent, but I bought it, so I'm gonna use it up. Now, my other tippy top spray would be the Urban Decay All Nighter. If you haven't heard of it, this must be your first day doing makeup because it is a tried and true classic in the beauty sphere. I will link both of them down below, depending on what your scent preferences are. This is like a little bit more floral and a little bit more perfumey, where I feel like the Urban Decay All Nighter is more like that like fresh with like maybe just like a slight flowery scent to it. But either way, they're both really nice. I'm really wanting to like use this up. So here we go. Okay, so now you can see the skin looks very natural. It is not overly dewy in my opinion, but I do like a good glow, but it's also not like matte. So this to me is where I want to start my day out. I know that I'm going to feel pretty dewy by the end of the day, but still look very nice and put together. So now, speaking of put together, we have to work on our lips. So I know that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, long day, put on a long wear liquid lipstick, do it. Yes, you certainly could do that. I am not all about that life. I'm not about that matte lip life. I'm not about that like drying feel that long wear lipsticks give you. I have not found one. I have not found one yet. like that doesn't just make me feel shrinky dinked by the end of the day. So what I would rather have is something that wears a decent amount of time, but as it wears off, I don't feel like I'm gonna look crazy. And I also feel like I would personally rather take the time, like after lunch, to be able to apply lipstick again. But the way I like to set myself up for success is have a really long wearing lip pencil underneath, especially because I feel like as I've gotten older, my lip line has started to be less defined. So I want to make sure that that is going to like look good all day long. So we're going to start out with the Pat McGrath Labs contour pencil. I'm just going to use this to line and maybe give like a little extra to this top lip here. And then we're going to go through with a beautiful creamy lipstick that is going to give us a really nice look that I don't mind reapplying once in the day, but isn't going to like make me shrink. So I'm going to apply contour, I would say to like the outer third of my lip, and then just like kind of meld it in. I think either in the next Pat McGrath sale or maybe in the Sephora VIB sale this fall, I'm going to pick up a couple extra shades of this pencil. I really like it. I don't need any more lip pencils, but man, these do last such a long time. Okay, so like I said, I just did like the outer third and just kind of like blended that in. What I love about these is they are very long wear lip pencils, but most long wear lip pencils tend to be really dry, like overly firm and dry. The creamier you get, the more comfortable it is and the easier it is to put on, I feel, but like then they just like, they either like smear all over or they just fade into oblivion. And this one is like the perfect middle. So what we are going to top this with is a beautiful creamy lipstick that I got earlier this year. This is Dance Card by Lisa Eldridge. So this is one of her luxuriously lucent lipsticks. It's her newest formula. This is definitely that like medium coverage lipstick. This Dance Card shade is this beautiful like kind of corally situation. You will have to reapply this, there is no doubt, but I would rather again reapply and have my lips look nice all day long during that long day than like have a lipstick on, the color stays, but my lips just like by the end of the day. That's not cute. Nope, I would rather have to reapply. So I'm gonna pop this on. I do love these lipsticks. I really like this lip combo. I think it's something that as it wears off, it's still gonna look nice and my lips aren't gonna be shrinky dink. That's all I care about in a long day. I want to feel like my lips are hydrated, that they have a little bit of color to them, a little bit of definition, and this combo is definitely gonna do that. And as we're talking, I'm realizing that I didn't talk to you guys about mascara, which is super important. I'm like looking at myself in the mirror here and I was like, something's off, something's off. So let's talk about that mascara. Okay, I have two mascaras I want to talk to you about, and I'm sorry that I like totally skipped that. So I always do my setting spray before I put on mascara because I don't want my mascara getting damp. I feel like that's a good way to cause the little like raccoon eye situation, which we are not wanting. So I have two mascaras I'm going to want to talk to you about. And one is the Bite Beauty Upswing Mascara. I also know that this is one of Jennifer's favorites. I think I had actually recommended it to her. I think it was me, but maybe I'm just taking credit where credit is not due. But I love this mascara. It is so volumizing. It just really helps plump your lashes. I'm gonna be honest, I wish that the wand was a little bit smaller because this guy is like a baseball bat, but there's a reason. Oh, upswing. Swinging a bat. That's probably not where they came up with that name. But this really does help like lift your lashes, gives it a curl, makes them very, very vavoom. However, on my lower lashes, I like something that is a little bit more defined, and not that this one like runs on me, but I want something that I know is going to last all day long, no matter what. So I like to use a tubing mascara. And the reason for that is because I don't really like to use waterproof mascaras. I find that they're drying, I find that they're harsh to get off. And so a tubing mascara is a way to have really incredibly long wearing mascara that you don't have to chisel off. So I'm gonna go through with the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. This is one that I use on days where I just really want some light definition, you know, a bit of length. This isn't really like the most volumizing mascara. It just helps like give you that like you but better lash, if that makes sense. And that's really all I need on my bottom lashes, but it also is gonna last all day long. If I get sweaty, if I tear up at all, it's fine as long as you don't start to rub. Because if you're not familiar with tubing mascaras, that's exactly what they are. They're a formula that like forms a tube around your lash. And so at the end of the night, when you wash your face, you'll just use warm water, and then they almost like come off. It sort of looks like eyelashes. Do not be worried, you're not pulling out your eyelashes. So you just have like almost like little spider legs that come off. That doesn't sound great, but I'm telling you, your face will last all day long and you'll thank me for it. So top lashes, bottom lashes, be right back. All right, so I've brought you all in nice and close so that you can see the finished effect of this makeup. now that I have mascara on, really helps. So again, we have the Bite Beauty Upswing on the upper lashes. This is 2 coats, and then the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions is on the bottom. So I do have, by the way, a full review of this mascara if you want to see all the deets. I think I did like 1 coat, 2 coats, all the things. So I will make sure to have that linked up as well. But here is the final look. You will have to let me know what you think. Again, this is really a full face of products that I know that will get me through a long day and looking good. Hello, I am back. I probably didn't even mention that I was going to try to do a wear test. I completely forgot to say that throughout the video. Hopefully I made a note in editing. But since this was recommendations for makeup to wear on a long day, I figured I should probably have a long day wearing the makeup, right? So it is now just about midnight, 11:50, and I got done with filming earlier today at about 2:30. So math, Kelly, that is almost 10 and a half hours, right? That's a pretty good long day, I would say. So why don't we zoom you in and you can see what my face looks like. All right, so I have to say for the first 2 hours, it was pretty chill. I was at home here, kind of just like hanging out, setting up my new Apple Watch, doing those types of things, but then the rest of the day was pretty busy. If you can tell, I'm very hot right now because I just got done doing quite a bit of cleaning. Jeremy and I also took a walk down by the lake and sat out at the terrace for a while, so I had some outdoor time. I also did have some time of taking my mask on and off because I had to go to the grocery store. So this makeup has been through a lot. Right off the bat, you can tell the lips are gone, which I knew would happen. But I don't know if you can tell in the camera. I feel like my lips still have some decent definition from that contour lip liner. And let me tell you, I had several cups of coffee, I had dinner, and not just any dinner, but I had like a big salad, and I was hungry, so there was no dainty eating of that salad. So there was no hope for the lips, but let me show you. Obviously, all I would do is like very quickly, I'm not even gonna like look, just swipe a little of this on, and then I'd be good to go. I just wanted to look to make sure I didn't like do anything really foolish. I guess I could like clean this up just a little bit, but the whole point was just to say this is a very easy lip to touch up, and I just used $1 worth of Lisa Eldridge right before I'm about to go wash all this off and go to bed. I feel like everything looks pretty darn good, other than like I feel a little shiny, but like I said, I could always have one of these powders with me, and very easily all I would do is like avoiding the under eye probably, but just like take this right through here where I get shiny, and then right through here, and I feel pretty good. Not bad at all. Now, I feel like my blush, my bronzer, and my highlight are all looking really good still. And I'm sure you're all like, okay, Kelly, but what about the concealer? Especially because I feel like the Too Faced Born This Way, it's sort of like, it's almost like a friendlier version of Shape Tape. It's not as drying, but it's probably just as full coverage. But I think because I just used a small amount of it to make it like a medium coverage concealer, that's where the success lies, is just using less. Using less, lovelies. That is usually the key to just about everything except mascara. So I feel pretty darn good. Again, for 10 and a half hours in, I feel good. By the way, can you tell? There is no creasing. Oh, I might have just the tiniest bit of creasing starting right here. I did earlier forget that I was doing this check-in, and I rubbed my eyes, and I also like did something up here, just completely forgot. But 10 and a half hours in, I feel like everything looks really, really good. Let me get this compact here just to take an up-close look. So I do feel like my under eyes look a tiny bit creasy right now, but again, for this long in, I'm really quite happy with it. I feel like the coverage is still there, and I don't feel like patchy or like you could like scrape your fingers through my makeup. I feel like this all wore off a little bit, but in a very flattering way, if that's possible. By the way, my nose, obviously with taking a mask on and off, that really didn't have a lot of hope, and I must have been touching my chin, but this is obviously one of those areas that tends to just wear away a little bit, but it doesn't look weird. It doesn't look like I had a mask on and then just like I broke off the piece that was on my chin, right? And that's what I'm all about on long days. I would have no problem going out for a much needed glass of wine at the end of the day if I looked like this. I would probably just use a hydrating mist. Like I have this Sweet Chef one. We could pop this on. And by the way, did you know that Sweet Chef is Glow Recipes' sister company? So you'll have to let me know how you feel that my makeup held up for those 10 and a half hours. All right, now we're gonna get back to the very much more awake Kelly. But that is going to be it for today, lovelies. I really do hope that you got some entertainment out of this. Maybe you found a couple products that you want to put into your stash so that you're ready for these long days ahead. I'm feeling it. Please let me know if you have tried any of these, or if you have Please let me know if you have tried any of these, or if you have some long day favorites. Let me know. I'm always looking for products that are going to make me feel confident all day long. I want to thank Jennifer for doing this collab with me. Again, head over to her channel after this. I will have all of her information in the description box below. If you did enjoy this video and you'd like to see future content, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you really soon.